Greetings and peace to you all. My name is Umi. Thank you for joining my YouTube channel, tuning in, and thank you for all the wonderful warm comments that you left in the previous video. I appreciate y'all so much. So let me get my thoughts together. I wanted to share this video because this has been an important topic on my mind for a long time. And I know many of you have heard the word gatekeeping before, and it often has a very negative tone to it. Like when we think of a gatekeeper, it's bad, that's a no-no, it's very taboo. Like, why are you gatekeeping? And it is in essence just the blocking access to a thing, to information, to knowledge. Gatekeeping is a person who could potentially just have that information, but do things, take measures so that others don't have access. And in this video, I'm hoping we can look at it from a different perspective, because many of you see in our wonderful information age just how easy it is for people to regurgitate information, knowledge, or wisdom they've heard somewhere else. We've witnessed what did I put in my notes? The whitewashing of everything, like yoga, for example. You can get sage and smudge sticks at places like Urban Outfitters or Walmart. And clearly this medicine, this plant medicine, these sacred tools were once a part of ritual and ceremony. And for it to just be accessible to any and everyone is potentially dangerous. It's harmful to the culture, to the lineage, to the history, to the tradition, to the practice, when anybody can access it and just willy-nilly put out information as if they are the original keepers of that wisdom and that ritual. So it's worth examining what role we play in accessing knowledge, wisdom, and information and understanding without kind of a process, right? Without honor and respect for these things. So gatekeeping, from my perspective, is a form of spiritual maturity. And some people may disagree, but when I started to see what I have dubbed these like microwave witches, and I'm not saying that to mock anyone or to be offensive, but I was seeing a lot of young people kind of all of a sudden sharing spells and sharing things that clearly are potentially dangerous to anybody who comes across it. Because do you really know what you're doing? Do you really have a right relationship with this plant medicine? Where did you get this from? Who told you to mix this together? So I had some concerns, right? We've seen orishas turned into aesthetics, sacred sexual practices turned into manifest your ex. So these examples, these instances, to me was all the more reason why I'm like, we need some guardrails. We need some boundaries. You know, what happened to the sacredness or the holiness of a thing? Now it's just like wide open. Some things require grounding, ethical commitment. So think about a woman or person who is a midwife. They help, through the art of childbirth, help mothers deliver their babies. This is sacred work. If that midwife went through a whole process of learning this and then decided, you know what, I'm just gonna make a quick YouTube video showing other women how to deliver babies, you can already see how potentially dangerous that is, because you can't just watch a single video and think you have the practice, the intuition, the real flow of childbirth, of helping someone deliver a baby. So clearly there needs to be some measures in place that would safeguard that information. Maybe you have to get certified, you have to pay money, or you have to show up in person. You have to go through a rite of passage to really be considered a doula or midwife. So let me slow down for a second. This is a fact. Gatekeeping is ancient, and it used to be holy. Every culture with esoteric knowledge, mysteries, rituals, or healing practices had gatekeepers. I'm reading some notes here. Gatekeeping is often a practice put in place by the high priestess or those in the high priestess like immediate council, medicine women, elders, initiates, diviners, griots, priests of secret temples, oracle keepers. Their role was not to hoard power, but to guard knowledge until the student was ready and trustworthy. Knowledge that holds power must be protected from misuse. As we all know, certain spiritual and ancestral wisdom can be co-opted, commercialized, diluted, weaponized, misunderstood, stripped of its context, turned into trends instead of tools. And we see this constantly, as I mentioned, with the whitewashed yoga. So gatekeeping protects the integrity of the tradition. Gatekeeping also protects the unprepared. Do y'all remember, and you can still find videos online, but when it first hit the internet, how to open your third eye, how to raise your kundalini, how to create your Merkaba ship, all the secrets of the universe were just wide open. And you mean to tell me people that went from just regular activities and regular mental and emotional sensory to this explosion of hypersensitivity to the spiritual world? And again, we've seen people have bouts of psychosis. We've seen people go through different stages of their spiritual journey. And for some, it was extremely difficult. It was painful in some cases, physical symptoms from practicing things without going through the proper process or having a person to guide you, mentor you, assist you. Some things are even communal. Depending on where you live in the world, some activities were completely a communal activity. It was not something you did in isolation without people around to ensure your safety, your well-being, and even how it is that you were channeling spiritual information. As mentioned, some spiritual initiations can open psychic doors people are not equipped to navigate. So keep in mind, gatekeeping is not, I'm not keeping this from you. I'm keeping it for you until you are ready. Of course, you can go looking for anything you want to know. You can go look it up. Now with AI tools, you can go look it up. You can ask, but you would be doing yourself a disservice if you don't approach these things with discernment, with spiritual maturity, with respect for the culture, tradition, and the source from where you're getting this information. Gatekeeping is a form of cultural self-defense, especially in my case, like for Black and Indigenous traditions. And I had wrote something else down. So for Black women, since I'm on this subject, it especially carries ancestral memory of stolen traditions, stolen land, stolen languages, stolen rituals, stolen bodies, stolen spiritual authority. Do you see it's had generational implications when people have taken a thing, misused it, and perverted it, and women are still, and not just women, clearly, an entire culture of people, but from my perspective, knowing that women for a very long time were keepers of knowledge and keepers of root work and keepers of these mysteries, and to have people steal it or even take your life for it, it's hurtful. And it's a reason why I feel very sensitive to what is being put out there, who's putting it out there, who's stealing it, perverting it, repackaging it, and profiting off of it. It breaks my heart to know that it's still a thing. And that even goes to our medicine. Our pharmaceutical companies have made billions of dollars from their understanding of plant medicine. And now people discredit natural remedies. People discredit tea. I remember for years I was trying to get my mother into drinking certain teas for things like the common cold. I'm like, Mom, this ginger and this echinacea, and I'm telling her about herbs. She's like, girl, I don't know if that's gonna work. Give my grandbaby some medicine. And I couldn't blame her. This is our Western ideology around who's the authority on these things. But do you see how something's stolen and repackaged, and now people respect that more, they credit that more, and they forget the ancestral wisdom and what has been preserved over the years? So I want to quickly talk about the difference between true and toxic gatekeeping. Toxic gatekeeping, what that looks like as compared to what I'm attempting to convey here. Toxic gatekeeping is, you can't sit with us because you're not cool enough. It is ego-based ownership. You're gatekeeping because it serves your ego. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel important. It makes you feel like you have all the information and people have to beg and plead and pay you to get it. That's toxic gatekeeping. Insecurity. You're afraid if someone else gets this information, what they may do with it. They may seem like they're better equipped to manage it, handle it, disperse it. That's insecurity. Don't let that get in the way. Power hoarding is another example of toxic gatekeeping and elitism. As you all know, we're in this era where people like to put themselves in these like special groups and feel like, okay, well, we're the ones with this information and we're doing this again for power, authority, financial gain, or what have you. All toxic stuff. Sacred gatekeeping, what our ancestors did. The knowledge has requirements and responsibilities. I'm protecting you, us, and the tradition. Sacred gatekeeping involves having integrity, stewardship, cultural protection, ensuring readiness, preserving the meaning and context of a thing. So this is important for you also to know the difference, because if you choose, you've learned something and you want to preserve it, you want to write it down, you want to pass it on to your grandchildren or what have you, I respect that. And understanding gatekeeping, it tests the character, not your worth. So this isn't us saying these people aren't worth sharing this knowledge, or that person isn't worth knowing this ritual or tradition. It's not about worth, it's about character. What I've observed in this person, they're willing to be patient enough, they're willing to go through the process, they're willing to travel to learn about the tradition and the culture, and they're not just here to co-opt it, they're not just here to extract or monetize a thing without respect and dignity and honoring the source from which it came. So again, before I shut the video off, you've heard me talk about gaining access to wisdom. Any effort to gain access to wisdom that can potentially shift a person's life or shift your life in a radical way, can change the trajectory of your life, you want to approach it with humility, intention, a willingness to learn, readiness for responsibility. You understand that this isn't just gonna fall through your hands. Somebody's handing you off something and it's just you don't know how to handle it. So it's a readiness for responsibility, as well as a respect for lineage. So that's what I have here. And I hope this information was useful. Please chime in. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are on gatekeeping. How do you interpret this? What is your perception of it? Anyways, I gotta go. Have a great weekend. Peace.